Welcome to Action Coaching. We're certainly delighted that you joined us on today because we believe that God has some special coaching tips for you. Remember, the design of Action Coaching is to coach the God-given potential in you, out of you, so that you can live your best life in Christ now. Certainly want you to let others know that Action Coaching is on the air and that they need to be a part of these coaching sessions each and every week. Everyone needs a coach. Everyone needs someone to help them continue to strive toward that ultimate goal, and so certainly we are excited about it. This week on Action Coaching, I want to talk to you about courage. Yes, let me say that again, courage. I just heard before I came on the air, I heard the definition of courage, and it's the ability to do something that's going to cause grief and pain. But however, courage is facing adversity, not knowing what kind of hit you're going to get. So I want to talk to you today about courage. Now, in order to be successful, you've got to have courage. Because one thing I've come to learn out, there are a whole lot of people at the bottom. A whole lot of people that don't want to have courage, don't want to do anything. Mediocrity is their normal everyday life. But however, those of us that have courage, and if you attempt to have courage, you might well get ready to ruffle some feathers. You might as well get ready to make some waves in life. The thing about it, nobody talks about somebody that's not doing anything. Nobody ridicules somebody that's not doing anything. It's all for those of us that have courage that say we refuse to live like this. That there's so much more in store for me, and I got courage enough to step out on it no matter what others say. Now, I've always understood that if you're going to do anything great, you got to have courage. And they have all the expressions. You got to think outside the box. Well, first you got to have courage to get out of the box. A lot of people can't think outside the box because they ain't got courage enough to get out of the box. Yes, if you got courage to step out on your dream and vision, you might well get ready. The people that not doing anything, you're going to ruffle their feathers. You might as well get ready to be talked about. You might well get ready to lose some friends because they don't want to take the same leap that you are taking because they don't have the courage to do so. Your friends are going to change. Your situation are going to change. Your surroundings are going to change when you start to have courage. Isn't it amazing that sometimes we can surround ourselves with people that want to keep us in the same dungeon that they're in? They will purposely tell you, you can't do something, or so-and-so failed, or that's too hard, or you'll lose everything. Do you have anybody around you saying, maybe, let me tell you, you could gain a whole lot if you achieve this? Nobody tell you you possibly could have success because they don't have courage enough to try. Life is full of people who want a guarantee before they get started, but that's not courage. There are a few of us that want to live differently. They got courage enough to say that I'm going to step out. Years ago, many years ago, I was at Six Flags. And Six Flags is a place here in Atlanta. People in Atlanta know about the Six Flags theme park, and I'm not here to advertise Six Flags. But they had this gigantic roller coaster, which was an awesome ride. Now, I didn't mind riding the roller coaster, but I was the type at that particular time, I wasn't gonna ride in the first car. Yeah, I'd be somewhere in a few cars back, but I wasn't gonna ride in the first car. So happened that day, it started raining, and then it wasn't many people that were on the roller coaster at that particular time. And so you could technically ride the roller coaster, get off the roller coaster, get right back in line and ride the roller coaster again. And so there was a young boy that was riding the roller coaster, and for him to sit in the front seat, he needed somebody to ride with him. And so I was like, okay, little dude, I'm gonna ride with you. Now, he jumps in the front seat and he truly excited about being on the front seat of the roller coaster. I wasn't too keen. Found out something, that it was going to take the same thing to ride the front seat as it is the back seat. But I also learned something else. Am I going to be the type of individual that got courage enough to say I'm always going to be in the front seat? Nothing is going to frighten me. I have courage. I refuse to live like others that don't have courage to do anything. I believe that there's so much more for me. I believe that there's a different type of life that I can have if I have courage to step out and give it a try. You gotta have courage if you want to be different. You gotta have courage if you want to experience the great things that are in store for you in life. Imagine how much courage it takes for people who venture out into business and don't have any money or anything, but they got the main thing. They got courage. I believe that if you have courage enough when you venture out, what you need is already waiting on you. How many times we admire the movies of guys that are seemingly the heroes. They got the courage in any situation. It could be bullets all around, but they got the courage to run out into the battlefield. It can be an impossible situation, but they got the courage to keep going. And we admire them and say, oh, I don't know if I could have courage like that. But yes, you can, because success is all about facing the odds. The world does not talk about people who run away from the odds. They're always talking about people who face the odds and have courage to see what's out there. Now, I know I got to continue to move on, but let me just say a couple of things about courage. First place, if you're going to get any better in life, you got to get with somebody that's going to introduce you to something you've never done before. Most of the time, people like to run with people. They got the same old routine that they got. You can't change things doing the same old thing every day. That's why you got the same result. You hadn't went anywhere. If you want to go higher, you got to get with somebody that's going to introduce you to something that'll force you to operate differently. And you got to have the courage to leave behind an old way to move to a new way. It's kind of like church. When people constantly hold on to the old time religion, well, the old time religion is gone. Now, we still can have some things, but it's a new day. It's more efficient. It's like trying to hang on to riding a horse in the day of the automobile. Yes, we understood that the horse got you where you want to go, however, a little bit slower, but the car can get you there much faster. But if you don't have courage enough to get in the car and take the ride of your life, you'll never experience great things. So courage is necessary. In my own life, I've always had the courage to venture out into a situation that I was most uncomfortable with. But I was the type of person that had to learn If I don't go, I'll never be able to see what's out there. And it's important for you to understand that courage is necessary. I grew up shy. You couldn't have never persuaded me to say that I would one day be speaking before 1,000. That in itself was frightening enough. But I had to have courage to venture out there. Somebody said, well, what if everybody laugh at you? Or what if everybody don't pay attention to you? Still, I had to have courage to face that too. God wants to strengthen your courage. God wants you to have the boldness that is necessary to achieve those things that courage will bring to you. Now let's talk about a couple of tips how you can have courage. You know why the lion is the king of the jungle? It's because the lion is always hungry. The lion is looking for something to eat. Now, I'm going to talk some more about the lion and him looking for something to eat in just a moment, but I'll be right back to talk to you.
Y'all haven't got the revelation. I got to take you another step. If faith is the title deed, then that means whatever the devil have, it does not belong to him. It belongs to me. But I got to use my faith to, I don't have no church people with me here. I got to use my faith to repossess it. The devil does not own it. It's mine, and my faith is the title deed to those things that belong to me. That's why when God talk about the world, he don't talk about it like it's the devil's world. He said the earth is the Lord.
I left off talking about why the lion was king of the jungle, because the lion is always hungry. He's not as big as a lot of creatures in the jungle, but he got one attitude. I got to feed my hunger, and I'm going to eat. See, courage usually starts when you're hungry. You got to be so hungry for success, or the level that you can rise to, that you almost have to have the same effects when you don't naturally eat. Have you ever been when you've not naturally eaten and you looking for anything at that particular moment to fill your hunger and give you some food so that you can move on? So to have courage, you got to be hungry. I was hungry for success. I was hungry for a better life. I was hungry to feel my potential. I was hungry to have so much more, because I can say this, don't care how many people talking about you or criticizing you, I believe they certainly would like to have the life I have even on my worst day. There are always people that are going to criticize you when you have courage. Whether you fail or whether you succeed, there's going to be criticism. But I don't want to live without having courage. I'm the type of person that the thing I fear the most is not trying. I got to try. I'm hungry for whatever it is. So you got to get a hunger for success. What is it that you're hungry about today? Chances are, whatever you're doing to feed your hunger, then we can take a good snapshot of where you are. If you're eating with less than the best, that's exactly what you're going to be. But if you're hungry enough for excellence, then we'll have a good example of what you are doing in life. Number two, you got to understand that courage is always going to come with you facing adversity, because it is through your adversities that the real strength in you comes forth. Have you ever been where you were so desperate for something and you didn't have the means to get it, but just because you were desperate, you would resort to doing things that were necessary in order to bring it to pass, because you desperately wanted to do it. I remember we had a bike one time for Christmas, and of course we rode that bike, and eventually the bike began to break down. But however, we were so excited about riding the bike. When the bike broke down, we figured out a way to put a piece from another bike or something else from another bike to make this bike go. That's what you call a certain ingenuity and hunger to ride the bike. When you go through adversities, one or two things are going to happen. You're either going to quit or you're going to get better. Matter of fact, a lot of us need to be like the shark. The shark can't swim in reverse. Shark only know one way to swim, and that's straight ahead. So I wonder how many sharks we got out there that no matter what's coming down the road at you, you know I got courage enough to swim straight ahead. That don't mean you don't get nervous, you don't get frightened. All of those things happen, but you got to have courage to face it. So courage is a big thing. Now we're coming into a time in the world where only the courageous are going to succeed. This is a different time. There are different opportunities, but it's left to the bold and the people who have courage, the people that are willing to reach for bigger and better things. No matter what anybody got to say, no matter what you think you're going to lose. A person talked to me and said, do you ever wonder what you're going to lose? No, I don't wonder what I'm going to lose, because I'm so intent on focusing on there's so much more for me to gain. Nobody ever talked to you in a conversation that way. What if you keep your courage? There's so much more for you to gain. And you hear athletes after athletes, they'll go into games and say, we don't think about losing. Our goal is to win. And that's my goal in life, to win. Somebody said, well, everybody loses. No, I feel like losing is, it makes you stronger and it makes you concentrate on your weak areas so you can win next time. Are you going to have courage? Are you going to stand up and be strong in this time? I believe that we can coach you to be courageous, because it's the time for the bold. It's the time for those of us that are going to take that leap. Quit talking about it and take the leap. Take the jump. Explore the new situation. Let your courage be strong in this hour. Now, before my time is gone, let me talk about one more point concerning courage. You got to believe that no matter what situation you're in, you'll figure your way as you go. I love to say this about God. So many times you're saying, people are praying, God, show me the way. Show me how to do this. Lord, I'm waiting on you to give me direction. But I believe God is saying, you have courage enough to take the step. And I'll meet you at every step that you take. Because getting anything from God or anything from a successful life, I believe as you have courage enough to take that first step, the things that you need to achieve what you're going to achieve, they will meet you as you go. But if you never have courage enough to start, you'll never experience anything. My prayer is today that you get the courage. Stop measuring yourself against other people and measure yourself against yourself. You the person that got to believe. You the person that got to take the step. It does not matter what everybody else think. They cannot do it for you. You got to have the courage to get out there on your own. So courage is very important. I never knew the things that God was going to do for me or introduce to me or give me an opportunity to do. But I had to sum up the courage to say, I'm going to get out there and try. Even though it may be difficult, even though it may be dangerous sometimes, but I got courage. The Bible wants us to have courage. One scripture said, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Meaning that we got to have courage enough that God can make us strong in every situation. I want to hear from you today. I want you to reach out to me and say, yes, Bishop Jackson, I'm having courage in this. Pray with me because I'm getting ready to take that step. Or my courage has led me to walk off my job because I'm going for a new career. I believe I got the courage to do it now, but I want you to pray for me so that I can take that leap. I believe that there are bigger and better things up the road for me, and I got to summon my courage and not be fearful of everything, but have enough courage to believe that whatever comes, it's going to be all right because you got courage to withstand that. And I want you to know that you can become legendary. See, I wanted to become legendary in every single thing I did. I wanted, just like I didn't have to look for any role model. My father was one in front of me. That was the only role model I need. Well, I want my sons to be the same way, that they don't have to look for no role models, but they live with a legendary figure each and every day. That they saw me have courage. They saw me face adversity. They saw me put the word in action. They saw me believe God. Because if you're going to do something great in life, you got to have courage. So I want to hear from you. Let me pray with you. Let me coach you on up to have courage. Because you can't do anything till you have courage enough to believe that you can do it. And God is certainly challenging us to have courage. Don't be fearful over everything. Don't talk yourself out of something before you even get started. That's why people say I have low self-esteem. You know, I already talked. Well, you don't talk yourself out of having any self-esteem because you already decided you got low self-esteem. What are you judging that against? So I certainly want to encourage you today to reach out to me and say, I want to have courage for this, and I'm going to be praying for you. Well, I certainly enjoyed talking to you about courage, and I'll be right back to talk to you. Welcome back. I truly enjoyed talking to you today about courage, and I want you to sit down and reach out to us. Like I said, let me know the things that you may not have courage for now, but I want to pray that you get the courage. You owe it to yourself to try. You owe it to yourself to see what's out there. That's what courage will do for you. And I trust that God is going to help you explore all of the wonderful things He have in store for you. Now, before I leave you on today, I certainly want to encourage you to sit down and sow a generous seed faith offering for Action Coaching. Yes, we stand in need of your financial support so that we can continue to make Action Coaching bigger and better and do even more awesome things to coach people through their walk in life, and we would love to hear from you. Now, there's a link in my bio that you can reach out and sow into Action Coaching, and we would love to hear from you. Love to receive your generous financial seed for the support of Action Coaching. And I'm believing God that He's going to bless you 100-fold for the seed that you've sown on today. After all, in order to really be blessed, you got to have courage enough to give. And once you break through on that, God is going to show you that your courage will cause you to receive so much more. Well, thank you for your support of Action Coaching. Thank you for spending this little time with me, and I would love to hear from you. Let me know what you think about Action Coaching so that we can continue to get bigger and better and talk about even more topics that you are concerned with. Well, the Lord bless you. I've certainly enjoyed talking to you. And as I do each and every week, I want to encourage you. Share the word with a friend and keep the word in action.